All right, let's get to what has been happening in Canberra today. Interesting little side note, a few people noticing this comment from the Prime Minister, of course, the hand-selected group of people where the majority already agree with what the government has already planned to do. Remember the reporting of the Turnbull Times last week. The biggest reform that will come out of this thing is a move towards more universal and cheaper childcare. That's going to be the big thing. $10 million study, and Deloitte is currently doing it. So we have to pretend we're working out something between now and then. But have a look at this from the Prime Minister.
There are some economists, perhaps some in this room, who thought that you couldn't get inflation down without getting unemployment up. Well, that's not my government's way. My government is focused on looking after people on the economic journey.
Oh, now, Linda, I love this rubbish. Oh, we, the government, we've brought it down. I love it, right? If you're responsible for it going down, then you were responsible for when it was going up. But, as always with these people, no acceptance for 13 rates on the way up, including most of those, 12 of those happening when they were the government. A couple coming down, oh, that's all of our policy, and a little dig at the Reserve Bank, who we know they were annoyed at that they didn't move on interest rates a little while ago. More generally, though, do you believe we're about to have big, bold ideas, or they've already got them written down somewhere and no one's allowed to get a photo of them with their mobiles?
Look, I mean, I think the results speak for themselves. Labor has managed the economy really well. They have seen inflation come back into the target range whilst unemployment has not increased. I mean, I think that is economically a really spectacular result, and Australians have benefited because of that. So I think that is something to celebrate. I think this productivity roundtable is a really important step forward because it gives opportunity for the crossbench, for the opposition, for policy experts to come around the table and put forward their ideas for the future
We've not
of
been
Australia.
invited.
That's something to be celebrated.
Where's our invitation?
Well, maybe you didn't put any ideas forward in your submission. Did you put a submission in, James?
You have to fill out the form first, James. Electra send it?
This is a government that doesn't consult. No, they're very picky and choosy who they bring to the table, by the way.
Well, that's not true. They've got the opposition there. They've got Teals there. You should have put in a submission, James. One of the things I do think, though, is that people are putting on the table good, bold ideas for the economy. You know, you've got New South Wales Treasurer Daniel Mookhey there putting on the idea of an EV, charge to better support state governments. You've got engagement
every
from
single
local
driver on the road.
You've got engagement from superannuation. You've got engagement from big companies, small companies, and you've got engagement from important sectors like the ACTU. These are good things to bring Australians together and generate ideas. And I, for one, can't wait to see the good impact on Australians' lives that will come out of this.
So, James, also let's talk about how the sausage is being made, all right? Sometimes process matters, and we know when it comes to this government, if they have a big idea about a piece of legislation, pulling one out about airlines, right? All of the airlines and all the lobby groups have to sign an NDA guaranteeing that they will not discuss anything about the negotiations until the government just gets what it wants anyway, and then they steamroll. And because you're still afraid of the regulator, nobody rocks the boat. Is that kind of what's also happening here?
Well, this government are renowned for NDAs. Throughout their last term of government, you couldn't have an appointment basically without signing an NDA. And
maybe
again,
with you,
no
James.
recording devices or no potentials, no mobile phones, no nothing like that. Look, no one's talking about the red tape. Paul, those business people that you played earlier, they are the real people that should have been around that table.
100%.
I've spoken to just a new nightclub owner here. Do you know he's got to employ a person to count how many people go on the dance floor in Rockhampton because he's got to pay $2.06 for every person that gets up and has a little shuffle on the floor. You've got another operator here that runs the Freedom Fast Cats that was threatened with a multi-tens of $1,000 fine because some of his commercial passengers came back with rubbish in their hand, and he as an operator did not have a permit to clean the beach.
No.
This is the nonsense, the red tape that this government overlooks, and that is what's destroying part of the productivity of this country. And it's all been just ignored because you've got the wrong people around that table.
And yet, James,
100%.
that's just so wrong.
Don't
because
explain
actually
yourself out of
under
that.
the former Liberal National Government, every 5 years the Productivity Commission does a review. And honestly, you can almost match up their recommendations for the last
they're not saints either.
reports, right? Because the coalition government got report after report from the Productivity Commission and they just did nothing with it. They did nothing about productivity.
But what will you do with it as well?
This is so good that the government is bringing people together to create new ideas
nothing more.
for the
It'll
future.
achieve nothing.
100%.
You've
and
already written the rule book for what's ahead.
And my view is what is telegraphed is what they didn't want anyone to know. It ended up as a legit news story, not a drop, which was that I think they're going to move towards that universal childcare system because they will say more family participation in the workforce is what's going to lead to greater productivity and growth. That's going to be where I think they're going to go. All right, just quickly here, 30 seconds from both of you, about the situation involving the Israeli MP. And look, pretty hot to handle, right? But as an elected member of parliament, should you be able to freely enter any country because that's part of the relationship between fellow democracies. Linda, again, we're not talking about a provocateur who's going to, go on a professional rabble-rousing tour. It is an elected member of a parliament. One may have plenty of issues with, but shouldn't an elected member of parliament be able to enter Australia?
Look, I don't think Australia wants to be a home for divisive hate speech, and I don't know this individual, but I have read some of their comments. It's a decision, obviously, for the immigration minister, but some of the comments that this elected official has made about children suffering, dying of starvation are pretty horrific. And the immigration minister has made a decision. I think it is right to place harmony and community safety at the forefront of these kinds of decisions.
Sure, but let's be equal. And the hate preachers and the rabble rousers, they also should get the boot. But James, they don't.
Yeah, but this is also the same government that blocked Donald Trump Jr. And yet, on the other hand, are giving Snoop Dogg, a real well-known druggie, a visa into the country so he can play at the AFL. Sorry, it just doesn't make sense. This government's got it all wrong.
All right, gang. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll talk again into the future where I'll get to ask a few questions. But Linda, nice little audition there. Well done. All right. Thank you, James. Talk to you soon.